Hi, my name's Steve O'Neill from Cornwall, doing this video on the BBC TV licence, and bloody hell, what was the other thing? It's gone out of my head. It's gone out of my head. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the BBC licence and see if the other thing comes back. So I was watching Chilly John Carney before, and basically his channel revolves around the BBC TV licence, and he finds fault with the BBC, and it doesn't take much effort. And he's very critical of the BBC TV licence and the BBC in itself as a corporation and the programmes it puts out and everything. So he has a very good channel. I subscribe to him, and he's worthwhile listening to because he's a nice guy. He puts it all across in the manner he does his research. So he's talking about something that he's become aware of, and it's whoa, it's triggered a nerve with him. And what it is I'll give you a link also to Talk Radio. That's worth watching maybe first. It's only 8 minutes. You don't even have to watch the full 8 minutes because you get the gist of it. And Talk Radio are interviewing this woman who set up a group to persuade people to stop paying the TV licence. And she's saying that in the last year, there's 1 million people stopped. And she said, she started laughing. She said, we like to think that we're responsible for a lot of that. So the Talk Radio are talking about this massive defunding in the TV licence. So they need money. So where are they going to get the money from? Well, they're not bothered. Or she's not bothered, you know. She's just talking away there and going on with herself. And Talk Radio aren't discussing it. But I'm saying, where is the money coming from? I've just remembered the other thing. 5G. So the BBC are not going anywhere. They're not going to vanish. It's just about how they're going to get the money. So Chilly John Carney, John, he's talking about how he's just become aware of this plan to tax your mobile phone. Put like a service charge on of £60 a year. And then that's £60 a year on everybody's mobile phones. It'll be added to your calls and stuff, or to your broadband bill. But it's mainly your mobile phones they're thinking of. And that ties in with 5G, you see. Because your mobile phones now are everything. Your phone, TV, your internet connection, it's everything. And you can't do without that phone. So they can tax it. They can tax its existence. And it's going to be easy with 5G. I'll talk about that in a minute. So he's talking about how they have this plan for taxing your mobile phone. And he mentions the Children's Media Foundation. And he starts talking about him. So as he starts talking about him, a little light bulb went off in my head. I thought, oh, I'll go and have a look at them. Just like I went and had a look at strong cities. You know, the strong cities, Melbourne, London, New York, San Francisco, Miami, all this. All these cities that have got these militarised police forces that have just come from nowhere. But it was all started by a charity based in London called Strong Cities. So this Children's Media Foundation, what they've done is they've done a report that says it'd be a really good idea to tax mobile phones and pass that money on to the BBC, and that will be the foundation of the BBC licence money that they need. Well, what a fucking disaster that'd be, because they'd just get all this money and then we'd never know what happened with the money. And these people would have this huge chunk of money. And there'd be no acts of parliament. MPs won't be involved. Well, not so much anyway. And this Children's Media Foundation, they're basically saying that it's important. We need to ring fence money for children's TV media. Well, that's the money they need to propagandise our children ready for the green energy revolution and everything else that's coming. Over the next 10 years, old people will be cast aside. And then middle-aged people, well, it's your choice. Join in or fuck off. But the young people, there's a huge, massive operation in swing and planned for the future to propagandise the young. And that's why it's the Children's Media Foundation that said this is a good idea. And children will be like that. Young teenagers will be, that is a good idea, that needs to be done. So you'll have children paying for fucking the BBC TV licence money. But it won't be called TV licence, it'll be money for the Children's Media Foundation and then other little groups that all come together as the TV cooperation, the TV co-op, whatever. This is only the outlines of it now. They're just floating the idea ready for when the TV licence does disappear, because if nobody pays it, then it has to go. The licence has to go, but the BBC's going nowhere. They are fucking going nowhere. All those left-wing, communist, socialist intellectuals, they have a job and they are going to cling to it like limpets to a fucking rock in a fucking hurricane. They're not giving up. So what they've done is they've created this organisation, and they will have created other organisations that start pumping out propaganda. And this Children's Media Foundation has pumped out this propaganda that what we can solve it by taxing mobile phones. So I've wrote to Jono, and I'll tell you what I wrote to him, because I'll give you a link to his video, and you'll probably see this if it's still, if you're not too far down. Jono, check out the Children's Media Foundation, because I went and checked it out. It's a house in Highbury, LOL. Check their website, and here is the address. You can stand outside with Google Maps satellite and look in the windows. 3 Liberia Road, London, N5 1JP. So what I did was, I went looking around the website, proper, looking at the people, everything, just like I did with Strong Cities all that time ago. You look at the people, and you look at what the comments and where they come from. And you just fucking know the socialist communist intellectuals going about their generational plan to destroy this country. And it's a house in Highbury. And I went and stood outside the house, with the little man. Moved the little man to the front door. Boom, there I am. And I'm looking at number 3 Liberia Road in Highbury. And it's a house. That's their registered place. So they've just set it up, and it's a charity based in this house with whoever lives there. Now, on the website, you can donate £25 and then you get certain fucking letters per year. Well, it's all a front. It's a front. It's a con. Because they will get their funding from the BBC. They'll get some funding from the BBC. They'll get some funding from other front organisations. And a lot of them will be George Soros based and Rockefeller based and Rothschild based. And European Union based maybe even. They will get big blocks of funding. They're not relying on you or me registering and thinking, oh, we need to be a member for the future of our kids and the future of BBC. And I'm prepared to have a £25 a year direct debit. No, they're getting big block funding from somewhere, and somebody who lives in this fucking house is making money of it, as are the people who are pictured. They're all getting money for this. They're all front fucking people. They're all faces of corruption. So, what did I put then? So the usual left-wing figures who I guess have links with Common Purpose, because a lot of these will be Common Purpose affiliated. That's another charity. Left-wing communist socialist charity that for fucking decades has been like termites working at the foundation of this country to fucking crash it and bring it down. Common Purpose somehow get funding for their work, and their organisation is ready. Oh, 3 Liberia. So the usual left wing. So basically, I'm saying that this 3-bedroomed house is just a fucking front. Why should anybody listen to them? But I bet it all gets through. The BBC is going nowhere. It's all going to get through. This is the new thing now. They're going to find money from somewhere because you're not paying. People are stopping paying the license, and they're not going to wait until everybody stops paying the license. They're going to build up this propaganda campaign so that people start to talk about it. And even if the greater percentages is not in favour of it, it's going through, or something like this is going through, where they're going to tax your broadband or tax your mobile phone. Because every phone now is basically broadband, isn't it? It's an internet connection. It's just a question of how they rearrange their funding. Regards James, blah, blah, blah. So I'll put this in the links below. I'll put these two comments made. So then I went looking round again. I went back to the Child Media Foundation. I'm looking. Anyway, there's a woman there called Anne Longfield. So I'll put this comment to Jono. Whoa, Jono, I am mooching around the CMF Child Media Foundation pages and I am looking at Anne Longfield OBE. And she's like a child commissioner or something for the care of children. So I am an expert at children. She's wrote this article. See, every face you see picture, you see, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you go to the page, you'll see, and it go boom, boom, 6 pages. And they've all written an article for CMF, Child Media Foundation. They'll have been paid for these articles. They've all written about the same length of article. So they've been told to write an article. Somebody's probably helped them, guided them as well. And they've all been paid, and then they've all fucking walked off with the fee, but they're still members, and they'll get like a yearly stipend from this charity that is receiving money from fucking God knows where, because it's a charity. This is a charity. It's the abuse of the charity system and people making money from the abuse of the charity system. Anne Longfield, a member who has written an article for them, and I clicked on, see, in this, you got this article, and at the bottom, there's like a web link. And it's, the web link is, and I clicked on a link, discuss this in forums. And guess what I found? An anonymous face person called Cecelia, fully supporting the tax on phones. So back in April, this Anne Longfield has put this fucking comment up, this article up on the charity. And I think one person made a comment, Cecelia, there's no picture. And she said, there's a very interesting article, that maybe we should fund the BBC through taxing phones. This was in April. This anonymous person has put a comment on this Child Media Foundation member of the board who has written an article. And on the chat page, let's discuss this. This one person with no picture has said, oh, by the way, I don't know if you know, but there's been an article printed, or there's been a plan printed, brought forward for discussion about maybe we should fund it with taxing mobile phones. So I just put a fucking slag off comment to her saying, I bet you're not even fucking real. I actually replied to it. I don't even think you're fucking real. And a few other things, tasty things. So what we're basically seeing here now is the future plan. Like in my last video, I talked about the future plan for Syria and Afghanistan. We're now talking about the future plan for the BBC. We're not going anywhere. This is it, when you get people who think they win the battles, you're winning fuck all. They're going to do what they're going to do. So how will you fight it then? When you don't have a license to pay, because you can't give up your mobile phone. They're making it that you can't give up your mobile phone, which then fetches me at 5G. About a week ago, I was sat here thinking, I do a lot of thinking. You know, I don't do much. I was saying to somebody on the email the other day, I've not emailed you because I'm too busy sitting here doing nothing. I'm not like thinking like this fucking intellectual giant. A philosopher, you know, a giant of history. No, I'm just sat here like Jimmy the Bricklayer going, And in gaps of nothing, thoughts come into my head. In gaps of like just looking at the wall or looking at my books or just looking around and thinking, I should tidy up. All of a sudden I get these thoughts. And all of a sudden, a few days ago, I got this thought about 5G and I thought, it's going nowhere. It's coming back. It's coming. It's only been delayed. And it's about how they present 5G to us. So you've had your scaremongers who've like think they've won the campaign to prevent 5G coming here. And we've also had the scaremongering that China will control our infrastructure as if they don't already. Well, what's going to happen is, with this pandemic, social media, algorithms, they're like running the country now to save us. So people are dying for that millionth of a second slowness on your internet speed. So what they're going to do is over the rest of 2021, we're going to be propagandized about the benefits of having like track and trace and lots of other things, aspects of this coronavirus pandemic. And we're going to have the next stages of it where we get COVID 21, 22, 23, 24. We've got variant D. We've got all these things going on. And take my word for it, we're beat. We've been beaten. Or should I say freedom has been lost. And the police took their side. And it's not on the side of the people. And we're beaten. And so things are going to develop. Children going to be tested. You're going to need 5G for this super connectivity, so that we can connect to testing children every week in school and results and fucking. We all know it's. I can't say it because I'll get took down. But there's going to be in the rest of 2021. It's about propagandizing us and convincing us that this is the world now. This is it. Now, we're going to need 5G to fight COVID. We're going to need 5G in the information war on COVID, on the pandemic, because we're in a war. Well, in a war, you need your best resources, you need your best weapons to fight in that war. And 5G is that weapon that will turn the war. It'll turn defeat into victory, 5G. Well, that'll benefit China, won't it? Just like the pandemic's benefited China. And it'll bring about the decline of certain nations. The USA being one of them. So there you go. Just my thoughts on the future.